Last Friday, I filed a lawsuit against Barack Obama and Leon Panetta for this horrendous bill that has run through that I think is directly tied to the Occupy movement. You scared the shit out of these people. And they know far better than we do how corrupt and rotten and game the system is. And if they think they got whacked this fall, wait till this spring. Because we've articulated a fundamental truth about this country that will ripple and resonate outwards, and the only response they have is force. The decision to shut down the 18 Occupy encampments, a coordinated national effort, was an example of how they have nothing to offer. If they could hear the suffering and pain that is gripping the poor and working class of this country, and they seriously cared about assisting and promoting the average citizen, they would have immediately declared a moratorium on all foreclosures and bank repossessions, a forgiveness of the $1 trillion in student debt, and a massive job programs targeted at those who are under the age of 25. And instead they sent in their stormtroopers, and they showed to all of us how bankrupt they are. I think the reason they passed this bill, which, as many of you know, permits for the first time in over 200 years the presence of the military on our streets as a policing agent and the ability to deny U.S. citizens due process, to carry out extraordinary rendition. I think the reason they passed this bill is because in the end they've seen how the message that we have sent out has resonated with the police and others who understand that they are not the 1%. And as this movement grows, and I know it will grow, and as it expands, they want that mechanism, they want to be able to reach for the military to save them. I'm not sure the military will save them, but I think that's why this bill has come into place, a direct violation of our constitutional rights. And so I and two attorneys, Carl Mayer and Bruce Afron, turned in our papers on Friday, and we're waiting to determine who the judge will be, and we will request that we begin litigation almost immediately. In every single avenue, we have to fight back, however corrupt the courts are, and certainly on the streets. But you're an inspiration to me, you're an inspiration to countless Americans, and I think ultimately because the truth is on our side and justice is on our side, we will prevail.
Raise your hand if you have $1 million to donate to help elect your candidate of choice. All right, we got one. All right, but other than this fine gentleman over here and maybe our friend Russell Simmons, most of us don't have that kind of money. But Rupert Murdoch's News Corporation does have that kind of money. And in 2010, they gave $1.25 million to the Republican Governors Association, who went on to help candidates, union-busting candidates like Rick Snyder and Scott Walker. And raise your hand if you think the game is rigged. Thanks to Citizens United, we have descended into an Orwellian nightmare, a future where all people are equal, but some people, corporate people, are more equal than others.
A lot more equal.
A lot more equal, that's right. Perhaps even more disconcerting are the donations that we don't even know about. We have entered into a shadowy, opaque world of campaign financing that provides very convenient cover to corporations, which is in stark contrast to a prediction that was made by Justice Kennedy in his majority ruling for Citizens United. Kennedy thought that there would be prompt disclosures of donations, giving citizens the ability to hold corporations accountable. But Justice Kennedy, as all of you know, could not have been more wrong. Sorry. The idea that corporations would voluntarily disclose their donations is as laughable as the Alan Greenspan's assertion that the financial markets would effectively self-regulate. I don't need to tell you that Occupy Wall Street is a highly scrutinized movement. The NYPD flanks us even now. But where is that level of scrutiny on corporations? When we hand out flyers, we go to jail. When corporations break regulations, corporations pay fines. And then they spend millions of dollars to elect sympathetic representatives that will end regulation so they don't even need to pay those fines. If only life were so easy for we the people. No one expected Occupy to grow into the movement we have become, and a quote that I'm sure most of you know that has graced many a sign in Liberty Square is, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then we win! Salon.com recently reported that Citizens United, the very nonprofit responsible for the ruling we are protesting today, is currently in production for a nice hit piece about Occupy Wall Street. Citizens United and their allies know that we pose a threat. And guess what? I think that's a really, really good sign. We are firmly entrenched in that third stage where the establishment does everything they can to suppress us and maintain the status quo. But I believe that if we keep doing what we're doing here today, coming together to fight for justice, and most importantly, forming bonds and getting to know each other and building new communities as we do it, then victory will come for us sooner than any of us realize. Thank you.
So the people who started this country, they were called Republicans. Now, I don't mean George Bush Republicans, I don't mean Rick Perry Republicans, I don't mean Rick Santorum Republicans. These were classical Republicans. What they thought was that representatives and citizens should think about the common good. Fucking naive they were, but that's what they thought. They should think about the common good. They should act and vote as citizens, thinking about the common good. And sometimes individuals do that. Not often, but sometimes. Sometimes individuals volunteer to go fight fascism in a war. Love of country to go fight in a war, to fight fascism. They do that because they think about the common good. Sometimes they race up a tower on fire. Not because they're thinking about themselves, but because they're thinking about the public good. Sometimes they sleep in Zuccotti Park because they're thinking about the public good, not about themselves. Sometimes individuals, persons, think about the common good and not themselves. Now, corporations can't do that. By law, corporations can't do that. Corporations are formed and their charter says they are there to make money for themselves. That's their job. That's what they're hired for. That's what their presidents are fired if they don't do. They don't think about the common good. They think about themselves. This fundamental, obvious fact, the Supreme Court forgot when they said, corporations are just like us. They get to spend their money in political elections just like us. They are persons just like us. They are not. They are one more fucking greedy influence in this system that's not thinking about the common good, but thinking about themselves. Now, it's obviously right that 2 years after this decision, we've got to find a way to reverse this decision to get us back to a place where we don't think corporations are just like us. They're not. We got to do that. But here's the hard fact. On January 20th, 2010, the day before Citizens United was decided, this democracy was already broken. And we will not get to a democracy merely by reversing Citizens United and declaring corporations are not persons. That is not enough. This movement cannot stop with fixing the mistakes of the Supreme Court. That's not enough. This movement will achieve nothing if we don't achieve publicly funded elections, Publicly funded elections is the only way we begin to reallocate the power that a democracy sings from. We talk about the 1%. 0.26% of Americans give $200 in a congressional election. 0.05% give the maximum amount. 0.01% give $10,000 or more in a cycle. We are not the 1%. We're not the 99%. You are the 99.99% who don't have the influence that the 0.01% is. And until we change that, we don't change anything. So I have enormous respect for what you've done. But don't stop with this symbol of corporations are not persons. Don't stop until you've restored this democracy to a democracy that the classical Republicans could respect, a democracy where we think not about ourselves, but what is in the common good. Thank you very much.
It's thrilling to be present in times of awakening. And so it's thrilling to be here. Emma Goldman said, "No great idea in its beginning can ever be within the law." How can it be within the law? The law is stationary. The law is fixed. The law is a chariot wheel which binds us all regardless of conditions or place or time. The Supreme Court Citizens United decision helped many people learn about the law of our place and time, including that under law, corporations are people too. Well, that doesn't sound right, they said. Suddenly my abolish corporate personhood bumper sticker got a little respect, rather than the confusion and disregard of its first 10 years stuck to my car. And that court decision was a twofer. People also learned that money is legally equal to speech, and that all persons, natural or artificial, are free to speak as much as they can afford in our electoral process. So says the First Amendment. Note, there are a lot of Supreme Court decisions at work here. 4 monumental empowerments of the propertied few. The 2010 decision declaring that corporations can spend what they will in elections is the consequence of a 1976 decision declaring money equal to speech, and an 1886 decision indirectly declaring corporations persons under law with First, Fourth, Fifth, and 14th Amendment protections, and a decision way back in 1819 declaring that corporations will not be the public creations we intended, subject to our instruction, but private entities, essentially beyond the people's authority. And these 4 decisions set precedent for countless low and high court decisions throughout our history that handed right after right to the corporate class and their vehicle for accumulating wealth and power, the business corporation. That's how the corporation became the governing tool of the 1%, a tool awash in constitutional, legal, and cultural powers to define every aspect of our lives. A healthcare system that serves the few and sickens the many. An education system that keeps the majority down and democratically impaired. An agricultural system that poisons field and food. A financial system riddled with stunning hocus pocus that relentlessly transfers wealth from poorer to richer, and an energy agenda that uproots the land and fouls the waters to extract every last lump of coal, drop of oil, and bubble of gas for a corporate economy of endless more. Endless more production and consumption, demanding endless more energy. The corporate class has engaged in massive usurpations, insatiable takings of our sovereign right to define our lives, communities, work, economies, and future in a sustainable relationship with one another and the earth. In light of this history, it's a celebration to see the Occupy movement shifting its focus from issues of corruption, greed, and inequality, real as these are, to the underlying problem of power, of authority to govern. Who rules? Who gets to set the agenda and then write the laws that turn that agenda into reality? Who brought us this mess? Such questions can drive this movement to a place of deep understanding, to arguments and actions that can bring sustainable change towards self and mutual governance. We, the people, currently have no remedy for our grievances within the law our courts administer. Nor have we remedy through regulatory law and its myriad agencies, a kind of law devised by corporate managers to keep us at a distance, exhausted and channeled into issues of little consequence. Will we be poisoned by 200 parts per million or 150 parts per million? Will the smokestack be 90 feet high or 75 feet high? Will the fracking pad be a mile from the elementary school or 3/4? Nowhere in this picture do we, the people, have a right to say no, to define our own reality. Ah, but you have all those rights of dissent, we're told. You can march and demonstrate and rally in public squares. But the 99% are increasingly aware the only right that really matters is not the right of dissent, but the right to decide. This work is about us. It's we who have to change. It's we who have to understand the challenge of doing real democracy and of tearing down the impenetrable legal barriers the few have put in our way. Through teach-ins, occupying strategies, democratic skills and process, community by community organizing, we can challenge the corporate state and the mythologies on which it rests. What myths, you ask? How about our venerated U.S. Constitution? Yes, it has some fine content, and we'll keep those parts, but it remains a minority rule document written by the well-knickered Federalists. The propertied few who feared the majority, who feared democracy. This founding document should have been revisited many times since 1787. Thomas Jefferson advised we rewrite it in every generation. And can we shed a second myth, the much too sanctified rule of law? Let's all interrupt the silly claim that this is a nation of laws, not of men. Who, pray tell, writes law? These times of ferment have brought us 3 organizations or projects to the fore that I urge you to explore if you have not already done so. The first is Move to Amend Coalition, working to unequivocally stating that constitutional rights belong to human beings, not to artificial legal entities. Check out their website at movetoamend.org. The Program on Corporations, Law and Democracy, POCLAD, has been researching, writing, and engaging others around contesting the authority of corporations to govern. They've prepared a democracy insurgency packet of articles and materials relevant to history, analysis, and democratic process vital to doing this work. You can find them at POCLAD.org. And lastly, Richard Grossman, POCLAD co-founder and a rigorous critic of ineffective activist strategies, who died this past November, has long questioned ineffective activist strategies. He suggests we begin to criminalize corporations, to criminalize the corporate leaders who direct them, and criminalize activity related to it, in particular the hydrofracking corporations. For a copy of that law and more understanding of that work, see fracbustersny.org. So here's to occupiers and people everywhere engaging this critical struggle to roll the chariot wheel beyond the tyranny of a propertied minority and toward real democracy.
In New York State, right now there's a real opportunity to at least level the playing field so that candidates have the right to be able to run in races and be on an equal playing field with rich people, with 1%ers. And I really do believe that we have a real opportunity because of Occupy Wall Street, because of the movement that everyone a part of Occupy Wall Street has created. Someone has a sign about human dignity. Where is our voices? Where is the political voices for working people? Where are the brothers and sisters? Where are the voices for low-wage, underemployed people in our communities, so that we can go out there and we can have our voices? Where are their voices? Their voices are not. They're being dominated by the 1%, and that is not what we want, and that's not what we're going to do here, and we're going to continue to fight Citizens United, not United New York. And we're going to continue to fight, and we're going to put working people in the forefront, in the faces of these 1% candidates, and we're going to have them answer, and we're going to stop these super PACs from dominating our country and making our country worse for working people.
Every day in this country, in every workplace, in every school, in every public service, there is a struggle between the power of money and the power of people. I've been on strike twice against Verizon, a tremendously greedy corporation. When I came into the company, we were 70% union. Today, we're 30% union. That's the power of money creeping forward. But I'm here to say I stand with everybody here and the millions of people who are also on the side of this issue, on the side of true democracy. We are not going to let the forces of undemocracy, the forces of greed, the forces of capitalism creep further. We are going to draw a line in the sand with our voices, with our bodies, with our spirits, and with our energy.